What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to A Different Perspective. Now, people asked me if I was going to cover this Derrick Jackson cheating scandal video, and initially I wasn't. I've already watched this video. I already done heard what he had to say, but I have definitely had some opinions and thoughts around this whole situation. Let's just start off by saying I formed the question: are you guys surprised that this happened? Comment down below. I want to know. But let's get into this thing. Y'all ready? I'm ready. Let's go.
Derrick Jackson here, and today I am joined by my lovely wife, Danae, and we just...
You saw that look on her face just now? She looked so uncomfortable.
wanted to address a couple of things. You know, we understand that some of you may have already heard, maybe not, that this chapter of our marriage is one that was preceded by a marriage that I completely failed. And I would say it just started around August, maybe September of last year. But, you know, a lot has been said already about what was the cause and all that other stuff. Some of it is true. Some of it is completely false. But the truth is, and I'm saying it here now, is that Derrick Jackson was involved with other women outside the marriage. And by involved, I want to be clear. I'm not talking about just casually kicking it, maybe a lunch or something like that. I'm talking about as serious as sex, to sexual flirtation and meeting up and that kind of thing. And some things that otherwise may be considered okay by some in terms of like just chatting or checking on people or being checked on by people that I've had a previous encounter with. But without my wife's knowledge of it and with us having a sexual history, all of it falls under the umbrella of inappropriate, cheating, affair, stepping out. Definitely not in alignment with the vows that I took. And definitely not in alignment with the biblical standard of what it means to be faithful, which is the standard that I'm going by now. Now, I'm saying this publicly, not because I'm, married to you guys. First and foremost, I'm accountable to God. Then I have to be accountable to my wife, in which we've already had this conversation. I've already told her literally everything. I've given her basically a roll call list. If I've said hello to a woman in the last 12 years of me knowing her, she knows about it. But now that it's been made so public, it's important that I first off let you guys know I do not stand by those actions. I don't want to encourage anybody to do that. And then secondly, I know that I cannot build a platform preaching certain things, preaching against certain things, and then in my real life live contrary to that for any amount of time or any length of time to any extent and think that I can't be held accountable. You know, the same way that I preach, men and women in this situation need to face consequences.
Did y'all hear that? Those words were aligned very intentionally. Let's hear that again.
Against certain things, and then in my real life live contrary to that for any amount of time or any length of time to any extent and think that I can't be held accountable.
That right there had me thinking that he knew exactly what he was doing. Now, when I first listened to this whole situation, I couldn't help but to kind of laugh because I'm definitely one of those people that felt like I saw this coming. Like, this man, he talks a good talk. Obviously he kind of caters to women with what he talks about, but he talks a good talk, and I wouldn't be surprised for a second if he was not stepping out on his woman. And another thing I want to say, am I not the only one that is not surprised that this is his wife? For the longest, he didn't show us what his wife looked like. We didn't get a name or anything. But in my mind, I always pictured her to look just like this, average. She's not supermodel, gorgeous. She's just an average looking woman. And I always thought that if she looks like how I imagine her looking, then it's a strong possibility, a strong chance that when he comes up the ladder of success and fame, that these women are going to be throwing themselves at him. And what happens when these women throw themselves at him? Will he be man enough? Will he be strong enough to push off those advances? No. No.
The same way that I preach, men and women in this situation need to face consequences of their actions, deserve to be held accountable. Guess what? Derrick Jackson's no exemption. He's not exempt from that. I'm also not a victim. Nobody made me do this. She didn't make me or push me to do it. The next person didn't make me. No friend influenced me. It don't matter how I was raised and what trauma, whatever. Look, I made decisions. I made a series of decisions.
That part right there where he talked about no friends influenced him had me thinking about a whole scenario. I'm like, it's a strong possibility that this man could have been out hee ha ha with his buddies, doing all this stuff, telling his buddies, y'all, man, y'all, I was with this baddie last night. She was so fine, da 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 da. And then his buddy's like, yo, wait a minute, hold on, man. Aren't you married? You was with another girl and you married? They're like, yeah, you know, man, it's all good though, because this has to happen. This has to happen. This has to be a part of my story so that we can overcome this in our relationship in the future. I have to make a book about this and everything. I gotta write a whole book about this. Me cheating on my woman, so that could be a part of the conversation, because that sort of thing happens in a relationship. He could have easily planned this whole thing. He could have always been someone that was going to cheat on his wife. He could have at least been someone that later on down the line was going to cheat on her. Consciously aware of the fact that he was going to do it, because truth be told, with everything that he has talked about and preached about in his videos for so many years, this man is consciously aware enough to know when he's doing something wrong or right. He made a decision. That's the thing about when you're committed to someone, when you have given yourself to that person, when you have putting the ring and putting the vows on them, it becomes a point where you're making a decision each and every day to be with that person, to be for that person and only that person. You got to do that on the daily. He had days where he chose to do otherwise. Now, we can look at this, on the surface level and be like, oh, he's just a man. He's a human being. He's flawed. We're all flawed. And even though there's truth to that, he's conscious enough to know that he can use that as an excuse when it didn't have to be. I honestly believe that if he just simply chose not to do any of those things, conduct himself in any of those activities with any of those other women, we wouldn't be here today. I know for a fact that Derrick Jackson has the ability to not step out on his woman, to choose to faithfully be with her through thick and thin like you're supposed to. But you hear him. He's putting a lot of emphasis on the fact that he chose to do those things. And the first time around watching this video, I didn't believe for a second that he's going to change. Maybe my mind will be changed watching this again through a second time, but truth be told, nah. And it's not me talking down on him or anything like that. I just don't believe it.
I got to account for it. There's no excuse or justification. I've already made that bet and have had to lie in it. And now we're finally getting on to the other side personally in our own healing, in our own marital oneness. And now this is being made public to you guys, so we're bringing that forth to you guys.
This video is trending. Why this man let her come out here with this bonnet on her head, no makeup, the sweater, unless she was perfectly okay with getting on camera like this with the world to see, because the world is going to be watching. This junk is going to get millions and millions of views, if not on YouTube, all across social media. Nah, she should have came out here looking her best.
I'll let you know where we're at with that. But did you want to say anything?
Yes, so I do want to just add that I agree with what he just said. There is no justification for bringing other women into our marriage on any level. And it was unacceptable. And it's not something that I tolerate or that we tolerate moving forward. And when I've been flooded again with messages and these things and about, I need to leave or why haven't I left? And the answer is, when I found out about it, I left. I did not hesitate or waste time to do so.
Okay.
And I stayed gone, no matter how many times he came.
Okay.
I stayed gone and stood firm on, I am not coming back. And I did not come back until I seen a shift and a change in his mentality in how he carried himself, in how he presented himself, in conversations that we were able to have that we had never been able to have in just 12 years of knowing each other. And when we were able to have these dialogues, said, okay, Lord.
Look, call me judgmental if you want to, but look at this man's face. Do you believe he gonna do better? He might. I can say that I don't believe it, but he might. Again, y'all, Derrick Jaxn has the ability to consciously be aware of his actions at all times. Just like he can show her a different side of him to get her back to be in her good grace, he can easily still be out there in them streets. Easily. But still be pulling her along on a rope. Feeding her a story that, hey, I'm with you. I'm for you, only you. But still be out there. Not to say that he will. I'm just saying it's a possibility. But I still can't help thinking about the fact that I'm sure like his boys are like, yo, man, you a fool, man. You a fool. You out here in these streets with all these pretty young things that's throwing themselves at you. They throwing it at you. They throwing it at you. Man, boy, you don't even know. You don't even know, man. These girls, woo, they make it too easy for me. They make it too easy for me. Man, I bet they do. I bet they do. Yo, I can't watch the videos no more, though. Look, man, you a whole fool, man. Look, your videos, you be out there, you be saying all that stuff. And I'm sitting here laughing. I can't, you my boy. You my boy, but I can't even take it serious no more. I can't even take it serious. I feel like that was a conversation he had with his boys. I'm a fool. Don't pay me no attention.
This is something that you've had your hand on. And this was with me being completely removed from his life. And him pursuing God, continuing to pursue God, and continuing to eliminate these things that led up to the catastrophe that you guys are seeing for the first time. So there's nothing out there right now that is information that I don't already know about or haven't known about. And so this is not something that is new. We have moved forward from it. We have gotten counsel for it and continue to do so. He is still continuing to pursue God and continuing to seek guidance and wise counsel from men of God. And that is what I needed for the continuation of me being present in this marriage and to stand by his side. So today, where I'm at is at peace, and I proudly stand by his side.
Y'all know I've been having conversations about prenups a lot lately, and one thing I almost feel like this is like a business decision on his behalf to make this thing work or make it look as though it's working for her. I don't know if they have a prenup or anything like that in place, but if they don't, it's a possibility. He's like, yo, I gotta protect my bag, man. I gotta make her think by any means possible that I'm gonna be doing right. I just gotta be better at holding these other women at bay and not letting it be known that I'm out here wilding. I gotta do better. I slipped up. I let stuff get out. I ain't take enough control over what was happening. I gotta make sure that I do better, because it's a strong possibility that, hey, yeah, he ain't got no prenup in place, and now this woman's gonna be able to take half of what he has created and built if she decides to completely walk away from this relationship. And he's like, oh man, I don't want that to happen. So let me go to counseling. Let me go confess my sins in the church. Let me go do right, by her. But I still got shorty, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Welcome to a different perspective, where we have conversations around different perspectives.
And I have no hesitation. I have no hurt, no shame about that. And it's only because of the grace of God and the mercy of God. And we have already turned a new chapter in this story.
I hate to say this right now, but it's a thought that's been constantly replaying in my head when I think about, her being such a God-fearing woman and him not being a God-fearing man and coming into being a God-fearing man. I have to say this because it's on my mind, and I share with you guys everything that's on my mind. Some people will use that against you. Some people will use your religion against you to get over on you. I'm not saying that that's happening here. I don't know their relationship. But I'm saying that I know this to be true.
We are continuing to move forward, and we are just now sharing that with you all. And I forgave him, and most importantly, God has first forgiven him, and I also forgive the others as well. And with that, we are free and moving forward. So absolutely, that's all I have.
Yeah. And I get it. Some of y'all, like, this may come as a huge shock, probably a huge disappointment. I let a lot of you down. If you've had a perspective shift on who Derrick is, hopefully it's away from anything remotely close to perfection. And it is simply that, I am a human, and that does not justify anything that I did. But I don't want anybody out there to be putting me on a pedestal. If you did, then I hate that you did that. Maybe I gave you cause for that, and I apologize if I did.
Nope. Say everything you just said.
For those who are saying, Derrick, I don't want to ever listen to you again, it's totally understandable. I appreciate you while I had your support and helping me get the message out about healing and healthy relationships to so many people who needed it, myself included.
And to pause right there. Now, in his other video where he spoke about this situation, it's funny. You remember I talked about the whole book thing. Mind you, I talked about him trying to sell a book off of this before I even watched that video. And to watch the video and him trying to explain that every different stage in their relationship where things went bad was the catalyst for what was the subject in each one of those books. I'm like, man, like, this dude is like the Taylor Swift of relationship advice stuff. Like, whatever happens, he monetizes it. Whatever happens in his relationship, he monetizes it. He makes a book around it. And it's almost like, hey, what's the next thing that has to happen so I can write another book about this? I'm not saying that it's wrong to write books on your life experiences, but to create scenarios to write a book about, that's not okay in my book. Especially if it's going to do something like harm someone else, especially if it's somebody that you say you love, your spouse, your wife, husband, whoever it may be.
For those who are going to continue to support, man, I appreciate you like never before, because I know it's not going to be easy going forward, at least for a little while so many things are...
Derrick, I'm sorry, but you have betrayed my trust in you, brother. I mean, since I was a youngin', I was coming to you for relationship advice, trying to better understand these women. I can't take anything you say serious anymore. And it's not to say that I didn't expect any of this to happen, because I did. But now that it's in the forefront, now that I know that it actually went down, I can't never hear you the same again, brother. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry at all.
Still fresh and attached to my name. But for everybody out there, if you get nothing else from what I've ever said over the last 9 years or right here in this video, please get this. Nothing is right until it is right with God. Nothing works until it comes into alignment with biblical standard of how God told us to do things, especially when we're talking about a marital, spiritual covenant. Yes. You cannot do this by your own understanding, your own intelligence, your own willpower, your own values. You have to have the grace of God to break free from certain things, to stay away from certain things, to not operate from your lowest self, whatever it may be. And it's because it's really only by God's grace that we're even able to be here on this video, holding hands.
Now, what he's saying right there is completely true. That is completely true. But if y'all have ever
Well,
read or listened to the book, one of my favorite books, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, you'll know that the devil has a strong grasp over 98% of people. And it's a heck of a lot easier to get a hold of someone who's already sinned than someone who hasn't. Think about that for a second.
like a year ago, 7-8 months ago even, I couldn't see this happening. I thought it was over and I already had begun establishing my relationship with God. But that's the fruit of bringing things in alignment with God. And the mess that's been made, the mess that's now being made public from last year and years past, that's a result of getting out of alignment with doing things God's way. So that's where I stand. That's where we stand. And again, we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you soon.
Now I know, and I want to go back into the whole devil thing, the devil talk, the God talk. I know there's going to be people in the comment section saying that the devil don't exist, that, this, that, and fourth. I highly recommend you go check out that audio book or book, read it, whatever. It's on YouTube if you want to listen to it. The devil says that. He says, hey, do I really exist? Only ones that believe in me are human beings. No other creature on this planet believe of my existence. So what am I to you? What am I really? Highly, highly recommend it. But yeah, y'all, this, no surprise here. No surprise here. Y'all, comment your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See ya.